They say that modern people do not read books much. In fact, bookstores are closing down one after another in Japan and the United States. One factor is the spread of e-books. But the other factor seems to be that modern people no longer read books. Long time ago, until about 1900, people's entertainment was a play, concert, reading. However, because movies, television, comic games, and various other entertainment were made, it seems that the custom of sitting still and quiet was gone. This trend seems to be linked to people's unbelief as well. In contemporary adultery and murder rampant, people quietly praying to God have drastically decreased. When I recommend reading to such people, the answer that comes back constantly is, "I do not have time to read such things. I do not have time." However, when I watched their actions, they had enough time. In short, they are not interested in reading. The things they read are cartoons or magazines, and they immersed in non-constructive hobby. Of course, it is not a bad thing to have a cultural hobby. But those hobbies are only temporary, killing time, so there is little that the world becomes peaceful and themselves be improved by them. Cartoon. The adverse effects of manga seem to be spreading to contemporary Japanese as well as French people in particular. Manga is not definitely evil. Some are good ones. However, many are violently and sexual and do not seem to have a positive impact on humans. That applies to games as well. War games, battles, shooting games, etc. are nothing but violence. Moreover, those cartoons and games have elements that make children go hooked. It is just like a sweet snack in cotton candy, you can eat unlimitedly. They do not get tired of how much they eat, so they are addicted. As a result, there are children who run into violence because they cannot distinguish between imagination and reality. There is a monitor practice in the shooting practice of the U.S. military. Their young soldiers are killing people in the Middle East with game sensation in actual war. Moreover, they also considerably lower their academic ability. It is well known that contemporary young people have many children who cannot read letters. To such a degree they are decreasing intelligence. On the other hand, how is a novel like? It is not necessarily all good. However, it is true that it is not addictive like a cotton candy. In other words, it also means that the book is hard to read. But, still, some books that are just a combination of printed letters will make you go crazy when you start reading. These are interesting things like cartoons and games, or even more. I would like them to taste the generation that does not read the books. Then you will have the character, wisdom of the people who read the books. Edgar Casey was a great spiritual captain of the 20th century America, but he was a good, serious and charitable person. However, he did not have enough money to go on to school. So they said that his academic ability was low. What he was missing was reading. Even so, it was not an ordinary book, he was reading the Bible. He seems to have hardly read popular books. However, they says that he read the Bible through once a year. Because the Bible has huge amounts of information, it takes a year to read through whole. He must have had time to quietly read once a day. Bible. What is the Bible? It is a prophet received a message from the God who created the entire universe. It is a message given by God to mankind. For example, the story of Adam and Eve implies the way of sex to mankind. The destruction of the kingdom of Israel warns that the human race will be destroyed if they corrupt and has no love for others. And the story of Christ is its summary. Do you know why you count the present age with the Christian calendar in Christ history and celebrate Christ's birth as Christmas? That is because mankind implicitly knows the importance of the presence of Christ, the importance of the words of Christ. However, because there is no priest who can interpret the metaphor of Christ's words in modern times, that words has been missed. However, each individual, not only Christians but also all human beings, must learn it directly from the Bible. Here is the importance of the Bible. Why are artists attracted to creation? It is because they trying to grab some message that they cannot grasp with consciousness. They express things that are not exact, through paintings, music, literature, movies, etc. If that goes well, it may imply a message from God. Why do you think that a bestseller will be born? Although it is a similar fairy tale, one cannot sell, and one is a bestseller. How different the famous Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter from other fairy tales. They suggest us the history of mankind, the path that the soul has followed. Lord of the Rings, the cursed ring in this book implies that we have to throw out karma, or greed, and Frodo of a dwarf to throw it away. It shows the work of the chosen prophet. Harry Potter, also. Harry Potter represents the rescuer of the soul within ourselves, and its enemies symbolize evil within us. In this book, the author consciously does not use the word devil or God. That would be to relieve this book and avoid being hated by readers. However, the real intention of this book is in the fight between the divinity of the soul and the devil in the human mind. The Chronicles of Narnia. In addition, Narnia, which pushed religious color, draws the history of the earth from history such as super ancient Atlantis, which human beings forget, and from modern to future. The Last Battle depicts the era of the Last Judgment of the earth. However, it is wrapped in a fairy tale oblate. 5 children in it. This work by female writer Edith Nesbit is a story in which children meet a fairy like a black monkey that lives in the sand and fulfill wishes one by one. Although the wishes of children can be granted, they all suffer. This is comparable to us that human subconscious mind gives us magical power. Fairy Sammy represents the source of that power. However, we must be innocent like a child, and even if selfish hope can be fulfilled, we will be punished. It tells. Perhaps Nesbit did not completely create this story. It was based on the story that she heard old days. As mentioned above, some of the best sellers have a story that we human beings are implicitly seeking. Below I would like to introduce some helpful books to everyone. Many Lives, Many Masters. It is about former life hypnotherapy. This book, written by Brian Weiss, is a documentary. Author Weiss is a psychiatrist. By chance, while doing regressive hypnotherapy, he induced the patient to the previous life. Ever since, he began to believe in the previous life himself. Before, he was a doctor of logical thinking, who does not believe in reincarnation. Also, in this book, Masters appears through patient's subconscious mind, teaching the importance of love. Love is, of course, not about romance between men and women, but love of eternity, unchanged humanity. So, the readers of this book can learn about incarnation and love. There is a River. This about the life of Edgar Cayce. This is Cayce's biography. There are 4 biographies of Cayce, and there are others. Joseph Millard's Mystery Man of Miracles, Jesterns, a prophet in his own country. A. Robert Smith's The Lost Memoirs of Edgar Cayce, Life as a Seer. I say again, he is underrated too much by modern people, so please take this opportunity to read through. Perhaps even one who does not believe in supernatural powers will be forced to believe in the power of Cayce. These books do not end only by reading, but because of their strong persuasive power. You will have no choice but to believe in love, reincarnation, alien. However, since the book is different from sweet and light cotton candy, you actually have to pick up the actual books. You have to make effort to read. Though they have read carefully, the people who ridiculed them as fancy, they must be small. God does not do anything to human beings. No, God is working on humans. Indirectly, he will punish us when we mistakes as human inner forces, and he gives revelations of visions and dreams to saints. In addition, he was born in this world directly as a human, and brought teaching to mankind. Besides that, he leaves scrolls to human beings can learn in future generations. It is the Bible transmitted to the present age. The Bible is not everything by God's hands. But the part that he does not write directly is that his apostles have incarnated several times over several thousand years and wrote it in every era. Reading is not a temporary killing time, but by those things the world becomes peaceful and oneself will be improved.